Hello and welcome to the Summer School and YouTube channel. My name is Nico. If you're listening on Apple Podcast, hello and welcome to the podcast. If you haven't already, please, after watching the video, this is your first time, especially if you like the content, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, leave some comments. The engagement is much appreciated. I bring content every Friday, guaranteed. What content, you may ask? Things about education and things sometimes outside of education, but mostly about education. I'm not a teacher anymore, but I'm still interested in the world. And for this week, and the topic for this week, I think to prep for my next guest that I'm interviewing, Natalie Wexler, we're going to be talking a lot about reading and writing. I thought, what better idea or substantive material to chew on than a good book? And before I even talk about this book to you, I know that, many of you know who are watching this and maybe trying to become teachers yourself, you know that a lot of books are being thrown at you. Material, you got to read this. It's going to change your mind. It's going to do this for you. And I'm totally aware of that. I accept that, and I hope that, you have that mindset even with me recommending this book to you, because I am going to give you this book because I love it. It's fun as can be to read, and I know that a lot of the books that are recommended are kind of dry, very from the top of the mountaintop lecturing to the people below. This is not the case. This is a book to anyone, not just teachers, anyone interested in schools, child development, or just the value of education in general. This is the book for you. And no, it's not everybody poops. It is Skippy Dies by Paul Murray. This was written and released back in 2010, and this book's incredible. As you can see, mine is very well worn. I've read it twice, and yeah, that may not sound a lot, but as you can see, I have all these tabs here because this was my go-to when the school year got really hard and a lot of the bureaucracy or just the shenanigans of teaching weighed on my soul. And this book, so many times I go to quotes from it just for a sense of solace, a sense of I'm doing the right thing, I'm doing my best. And with this book, Skippy Dies, it's exactly what it says it is. The protagonist of this book, Skippy, dies in the first chapter. It takes place at a fictional boarding school called Seabrook in Dublin, Ireland. And like I said, the protagonist dies in the first chapter. He dies in at a donut shop during a donut eating competition. And basically the whole story is kind of figuring out what were the events that led to this tragedy, and more importantly, this tragedy of a kid dying among his peers, among members in the community, the ripple effects of that pain, how it affects every single component that makes an educational institution run. And this is why I'm recommending this book to teachers, to anyone who's interested in those three subjects I listed. This book does an amazing job, more so than nonfiction books, scholarly articles, honestly, of just painting the people, the mindsets, and the philosophies that you will find going through any sort of educational institution. And what I love about this book is that the characters are so thoughtfully created. Nothing seems like just a walking message of here's what I'm trying to lecture to the reader. No, everything feels very, very organic. And I can't recommend this book enough. The kids in my class would always ask me, Mr. Nico, what's your favorite book? What's your favorite book? And I always told them, Skippy Dies. And I'm sorry, kids, you can't read it until you're 16 because, again, I'm not giving any spoilers in this review/recommendation. But this book reads like a really poignant South Park episode. And there's going to be a lot of cussing in this. But it's not raunchy for the sake of being raunchy. It's real because it's being told from the perspective, for the most part, of teenage boys and girls. If you were a teenage boy or girl that lived at some point in your life, the conversations that you were having among your peers when no adults were around were raunchy and just disgusting with vocabulary. But that's being human, and that's a sign of good writing, that it's not this polished and, it's these private school kids talking to each other in the most beautiful language. No, they're saying some pretty foul stuff, and the adults too when they're in the teachers' lounge together. But this book just is so detailed. One, it's right around close to 700 pages. So I understand that's pretty intimidating. And I am a person, full disclosure, if a book is over 400 pages, it better deliver. I go by the 100-page rule. If I get to 100 pages and I'm not feeling it, I just drop it. And with this book, like I said, it reading like a South Park episode, it's funny. I know the topic that I gave to you at the start, the plot sounded very depressing. I don't want to read a book about a kid that died. Well, Paul Murray manages to do it with style and grace, and throughout the whole story, even in the really sad parts, there's just a charm in the world he creates. And by the end of this book, you'll feel like you attended Seabrook during this tragic period and event that they had to go through. How does the death of this child affect his friends? How does it affect the teachers that really care, the teachers that were ambivalent? How does it affect the administration that has to deal with the PR of having a student die? How do the parents deal with it? How do the coaches and the PE teachers and all of those people deal with that death, that tragedy? It's all explained and explored through this book. The last thing I'll say is I love this book because it really discusses the perpetual balance that a teacher has to face of feeling a sense of power in what they do, but also feeling a sense of powerlessness. A lot of the conversations around teaching is always, and it frustrated me, you have all this power. You're the thing in this kid's life. You're this. I can accept those things, but you need to also accept that you don't have control. Adults, not just teachers, adults in a child's life, they need to embrace the idea that they are, as much as influence they have over a child, they are also not in full control of the choices that child makes. They don't want to admit it, but that's how it is, and this book does a great job of illustrating so to end this review / recommendation, I'm going to read a section that this was the section I read all the time during the hard days of school. So again, no spoilers. This was said by one of the cool teachers in the book. His name is Farley, and he's just going on an angry vent. I'm not denying for 1 second. It's a shitty fucking world, no question. And right off, these kids are in the crosshairs, being told to buy this, buy that, lose weight, dress like a hooker, get bigger muscles, by grown men, Howard. It's grown men and women doing this. I mean, the cynicism of it is unbelievable. But my point, he stalls, head veering in vague circles like an errant compass needle. That fool, that silly old man, the automator, and all of them, they carry on like it's outside. All the bad stuff is outside, and we're this embattled force protecting them from it. When it's us too, Howard. When we're filling them with our own brand of bullshit about tradition and whatever. Setting them up to take their places at the top of the shit heap like this is some noble thing. When it's all just money, and who they are is incidental. They're just the means of allowing Seabrook to keep fucking being Seabrook. Like I said, there's bad language in it, but it's not for the sake of just cussing all the time. It really feels genuine to the dialogue of the story. So if you ever have free time and you want to just read inches of this book at a time, I strongly recommend reading it. It will help you explore the complexities of schools and child development without feeling like you're reading an instructional text. Again, buy this book, Skippy Dies by Paul Murray. He's written some other, but I really love The Mark in the Void, but this is the one I'm going to recommend for today. I hope to do other book reviews in the future on this channel just for books that helped me with teaching and for the classroom. But you're free to read what you want. You got choice, and I respect your choice, but thanks for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Again, I'm interviewing Natalie Wexler. Hopefully soon. We're going to touch base again, but I really love the topic of reading, especially how it's taught in schools, because I know it's super complicated. But if you like the video, subscribe, and if you like that book, go buy it. Sounds interesting to you. Maybe you won't like it, maybe you will. Give it a shot. Until next time, take care.